I have a question on the new Dream Kit.
Oh, yes, 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 yes.
Yeah, so the list of oils that came out in the newsletter was
Mhm.
all the different dream oils, and there's a couple of oils that start with a P. I can't pronounce it. Can you maybe spend some time talking to us about the
Sure.
oils and
Let
how
me
to
look it
use
up
them? Yeah,
so I'm
that
not
sounds
doing it,
amazing.
yeah, from memory. Um, right. Okay, so unconscious, we've had in previous classes, and it's probably better to call it the unconscious rather than just unconscious, but um, uh, basically, that is to relax the smooth muscle of the digestive tract and respiratory tract, which helps to stimulate more of the intuitive side of the mind. Basically keeps the normal everyday mind from being too overstimulated with sensory information. And very relaxing. Intuition is beginning to harmonize the two sides of the brain. And when you start to harmonize the two sides of the brain, the more intuitive side kind of takes like a little bit more of a lead role. And then the normal everyday mind processes the information that comes in from the intuitive mind. And remember, when I say intuitive mind, it's the part of the mind that goes beyond sensory information. So you can be drawing upon the unconscious, you could be drawing upon uh, information coming from the higher soul, coming from reflection, drawing upon realization. And so the intuitive blend was made to kind of stimulate that what happens when you're in dream time, but to be able to do it in like a waking state. Then there is a blend called Paracelsus, and the reason that it's called that is just Paracelsus was this guy back in the day, a long, long time ago, and it is the first time that like a liniment was like in a written form. They say that like he produced the first liniment, and so basically herbs and like an alcohol or a vinegar or some sort of base like that. And in those times, a lot of times they would do it with like soaps, which was like ash mixed with a bunch of other things. And so his was more of a almost like a medicated soap, but it was something you just put on the body and left. And it was considered like a cure-all. And the 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 purpose of it is to basically stimulate the parasympathetic part of the nervous system, which is your involuntary part of your nervous system. It stimulates the rest and repair like function. A lot of times when we're doing activity, you could say we're in fight flight, or you're just in action mode. And sometimes when you come home at night or over several months, you might be a little wound up, and it's the nervous system is leaning a little bit more towards activity and a little bit less towards rest and repair. And when you don't go into rest and repair very much, you don't really process things as deeply as you could. And that also starts to become a precursor to inflammatory responses in the body. And so this liniment or this blend could be used for, treating inflammatory conditions, for treating psychological issues, just because when you go into rest and repair, it becomes easy to let go of things. It becomes easy to release things, right? And so I wouldn't say like if the adrenals were overactivated, you could use it for that. There might be some other things that might work a little bit better, but for helping the body go into that recovery mode, regardless if you're in fight, flight or not, that blend is really, really good for it. Uh, I did a kind of a big dosage of it earlier in the week, And I did it kind of midday, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna relax, and I'm gonna get some stuff done. Yeah, I did a bath and I was pretty done. Like, I did nothing else the rest of the day, even though I had a to-do list. And so it would be good to be done like at night before you go to bed, rather than um, uh, midday. I was doing an experiment, and so it worked. And so it really puts you into a place where you just kind of go into that repair kind of mode, and the mind kind of quiets down, and you're able to process things a little bit better in sleep time. And then the dream body, mm, it's you really don't have like a dream body like you do your mental body, your physical body, but it's a set of responses, you could say, or a set of functions. And so it's stimulating some aspects in the endocrine system, immune system, and nervous system to help deepen your ability to go into deeper states of dreaming. And so you can use it at night before you go to bed to increase and improve sleep. You can use it to, help with the reduction of stress and the stress response. But you also will process things more deeply in your sleep. You'll kind of have realizations or draw conclusions to a higher degree when you're sleeping, and can improve meditation, things of that nature. I mean, it helps the body get like more deep, restful sleep. And so, like when I was started using it a few days ago, I realized like I'm a little bit more tired than I thought, And so, like doing a little bit of extra sleep, like normally about 5:30 in the morning, I start kind of waking up, and then I pretend sleep for about an hour or so, and then I start getting up. And yeah, since I've been using it, I'm waking up at like 7:30, like I'm getting a couple extra hours of sleep because I just let myself wake up without an alarm most of the time. Not every time, but most of the time. And so it's been very helpful for that. And you can just do it without the pattern, or if you want to go deep, you can go with the pattern. But I mean, sometimes I'm just using it without the pattern. I'm just doing them in a sequence. I do it also when I'm wanting to treat something psychological, when I'm wanting to release something, because it puts you a little bit more in that dream type state when you want to release something, even though you're awake. And so it becomes very easy to let go of, an old trauma, old fear, deep-seated stresses, the tendency for your body to armor against just the bombardment of everyday, wear and tear of, interacting with people, and, aggressions and things like that. And so, aggressions directed towards you. And so one of the things that, we haven't gone super deep into, we've talked about some of the things for like psychic protection, but we are going to be going a little bit deeper on it. And part of what happens with psychic, when people are being aggressive towards you or violent towards you, is it does stimulate a bit of we've talked about how it stimulates responses in the immune system, nervous system, and endocrine system, but on a deeper level, like with more explanation, is it can aggravate pains that you already have in your body, and it can stimulate the inflammatory response, and even make the inflammatory response hyper reactive. So, normally it would take this much to make inflammation happen in your body. When you're hyper reactive, it could take this much. It doesn't take very much for you to go into this like inflammatory response. And so with that, your body starts to have more food sensitivities, more allergies, more aches and pains. Um, and, it's basically tied to the aging process. Inflammation is directly tied to the aging process. You could actually say the aging process is an inflammatory response. And so even variations of this, we're going to talk about over the next few weeks through the newsletter, how to utilize variations of things that are in this for dealing with, toxic environments, people being adversarial with you. And it's kind of a precursor to, whether you do it or not, it's a precursor to what we're going to be doing with the alchemy of the materialization class, which is, we're calling it a materialization class, but I don't know that it's really like a materialization class, like how you focus on goals and things. It's basically a way to condition the basic chakra and the pineal gland to basically heal and transform the environment. And it's tied to these 12 chemical processes in the zodiac. And so, it's tied to this 3-step process. One was cleansing the blood, one was the vital centers, and then this other part with the set of the 12 chemical processes. That is the third and like the final piece to all this. And so with that, a lot of what starts to happen is you start fleshing out forms of like psychic attack, aggression towards you. Most of it's unconscious, you're not really aware of it, but also like forms of like stress, things that pull your basic into like automatic response, and things that pull you away from processing information from the higher soul. And so it's a way to do the maintenance in between of doing the big practice with alchemy of materialization. It would be a way to do maintenance in between, or if you're in a time of crisis, you could go through and do with it. It's another way to also help to allow like consciousness and perceptions to shift and change. When we're driven by our lower nature, which we all have it, we're all wrestling with that, and we wake up by degrees, but a lot of that is always tied to habits and automatic behaviors, automatic thinking. And so we try to come at it different angles to just keep unwinding the conditioning, so that as time goes by, the automatic responses begin to diminish, and you get to be more of who you are in the present time. You get to reboot yourself and kind of walk away from the past conditioning. And so the alchemy for the materialization is like a way to thoroughly go through and do that. But this was kind of like a short version. And these aren't even oils that are in the alchemy class. There's these blends that are just tied to these alchemical processes. We put what zodiac sign they're associated with in the booklet, but it's not so much about the zodiac sign itself. It's more about the alchemical process. And so, I try to do that for the vital centers. Like we made that one blend that's just the vital center, blend. It doesn't treat everything that the vital center class does, but if you're dealing with somebody who's not going to sit and do the whole class, or need some maintenance in between, it's a way to treat it without them, sitting down and doing the whole class. At least there's something there. And so this was an attempt to go through and do the things that we'll be doing in the alchemy class, alchemy for materialization, but without, you might be working with a patient, a client, or you just might want maintenance in between, or whatever. I wanted to have like a short version of how to be able to go through and treat it. And so this was the way to do it.